Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's episode 16 of the Fantasy Cast. I'm Lachlan McTagg. Joined alongside me today is not Ty White. Ty's on a little bit of a holiday. So we decided to sign our good friend Christian Haggith to a little PTO, professional tryout with the squad. Christian, welcome back. You're no stranger here. We've seen your face around here a couple times this season. Welcome back. How's it going?
Not bad, Locke. Thanks for having me back. These are big shoes to fill, filling in for Ty here, but I'm hoping to do the best in his absence here. Not bad though. I've been doing well. Been kicking back over the holidays, watching a little football, enjoying myself. How's life for you?
Pretty good being back now. Last week I was still in I wasn't in Massachusetts anymore. I was in Toronto last week. So I'm still back home. Don't go back until January the 2nd. So got a little bit more time here to spend with the family, see some friends and whatnot.
For sure.
Yeah, I was loving
right after New Year's, eh?
Yeah, I was loving the Bills win the other day too. That was great.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, I'm sure you would.
It sucks though, because now the World Juniors got canceled today. So it's like, I mean, thank goodness, there's no Thursday nighter either this week, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So if anyone, anyone in Canada understands the World Juniors, like the significance of it. So it really sucks that they're canceled now.
That was a heartbreaker. That was a total heartbreaker. That's one of the things that kind of makes up the holiday season here in Canada.
Yeah,
especially for hockey players, but it's all right.
Life goes on.
Hopefully, they find another time and place to do it somewhere down the line, but who knows? So,
yeah.
Right, shall we jump into it?
Yeah, we should probably get on the topic of fantasy football because this is, after all, a podcast about that subject matter. Hags, do you wanna start us off with revisiting our starts from last week?
I'd love to shoot down your and Ty's starts and sits from last week. So, according to these two lovely gentlemen, they called a Javonte Williams start. He had 10 points on the dot, and as you know, the Fantasy Cast qualifies a proper start as a 10-point or more performance. And so he just hit that mark on the dot. Javonte Williams was a start. Next, they said Gronk was a start, Rob Gronkowski. And he put up a whopping 3.3 points, qualifying him as a bust and a certifiable sit. Can't win them all.
Yeah, we got that one wrong. All right.
They tried to mix two tight ends in the mix there. Putting Dawson Knox as well as a start. He put up 9.1. He was playing for my team last week. Didn't mind that performance. Came pretty close. Not close enough. 9.1 is not a start. And AJ Dillon as well put up 8.6.
I was surprised. I was really surprised about this one, man. This one really surprised me.
Yeah, me too. Aaron Jones had a little bit too much action there, caused AJ Dillon a few missed points, but whatever. They also threw Cole Beasley in as a starter, and he didn't end up playing, of course. So we're gonna wash that one.
Yeah, and we also last week we also said if Beasley is not able to go because he was in the health and safety protocols, we told you to start Gabriel Davis instead, and then Gabriel Davis didn't even play. So what can you do?
It's the world we live in, Locke.
What can you do? We planned for all scenarios except for one where they both don't play. And yeah,
you can't have a backup plan for your backup plan.
Yeah.
So, anyways, moral of the story is they went 3 for 4 on starts. No, sorry, 1 for 4 on starts. I was looking at the wrong way. A
little generous.
And the one hit was like on the dot.
Yeah. Yes, it's setting the bar pretty low.
It was a wild week in fantasy, though. Who knows? You can't blame you guys there. I know Ty White's listening to this somewhere warm and
Yeah.
cozy, kicking his feet back and chuckling to himself. So thanks, Ty.
Yeah, we try, but it's going to get better, and you'll see that here in a second, because our sits
For
list, we
sure.
told you to sit Mike Gesicki, and Gesicki put up 5.2 points, got that one correct. We told you to also sit AJ Green. AJ Green put up 4.3 points. Things are looking better here. We told you to sit Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and that was a bit of a hot take. I won't lie, that was a little bit of a hot take. He was starting to do a little bit better this year, find a little bit more of a rhythm, and he put up 10.1 points. 10.1 points. We had just a couple of our starts and sits were right around that mark, but Edwards-Helaire 10.1, that's technically incorrect over the 10-point threshold for us, so did not get that one right. We told you to sit CJ Uzima. He put up 8.6 points. And Pat Freiermuth, good buddy Pat Freiermuth, we told you to sit him, unfortunately. And we did get this one correct. We finally got a little bit more of a read on Pat Freiermuth. He put up 7.7 points. So 4 for 5 on the sits, 1 for 4 on the starts, 5 for 9 total. I'll take that any day. I will take that any day.
Yeah, I mean, if you're shooting 5 for 9 from the field in the NBA, you're getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only shooting 9 shots a game, you're probably not. Let's get back to football.
Yeah.
I love bringing it to every other sport here, but football.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 5.9 or 5 out of 9. I just did the math. 56%. That's not bad, boys.
That's not
But
terrible.
the big guns are here, and we're ready for a big week in the start and sit column.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna move on to top performers from the last week, though, now as well. I'll start us off with quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, 38.1 points last week. 37 for 46, 525 passing yards. Thanks for coming. 4 touchdowns. Wow. Like what a day for the Bengals offense, just rolling right now. Dak Prescott put up 31.3. Josh Allen put up 31. Zach Wilson put up 23. Zach Wilson that's probably one of his first appearances on our top performers list for the quarterbacks this season. Good to
probably
see.
Gonna be the only one.
Yeah, good to see him up there though. 1 rush touchdown, 1 passing touchdown. Not a bad day for the guy. And then Patrick Mahomes put up 22.3 points, 23 for 30, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns. Easy does it for Mahomes there.
For sure. Yeah. Moving on to the running backs here. Top running back from week 16. We had Justin Jackson filling in for the injured Austin Eckler. Funny story here. Austin Eckler actually, I don't know if you saw this, Lachlan, did an interview last week where the reporter asked him, who should fantasy managers start in your absence between Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly? And Austin Eckler was torn, and he didn't want to really pick one, but he said, you know what, guys, start Justin Jackson. And Justin Jackson was the RB1. Austin Eckler is always looking out for his fantasy managers. Good on him.
Yeah, good
So,
guy. Also,
also,
if you follow the Fantasy Cast on Instagram, you'll know that I poked fun at co-host Ty White because they lost to the Texans. Yeah, the Chargers had a tough loss to the Texans. I had the Chargers defense last week too. I literally picked them up like 2 weeks ago, literally just for this game, and they put up a nice -5 output point performance. So that really helped.
If you've got Jackson on your fantasy team, you don't really care that they lost to the Texans because he put up 2 touchdowns anyways, as well as 8 receptions for 98 receiving yards. He also had a fumble in there, but it is what it is. Joe Mixon then came up second with 31.5, mixing in a touchdown there, as well as 70 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. Rex Burkhead had 2 touchdowns, amounting for 29 points, mixing in 150 rushing yards there as well. And Damian Harris, who I had on my bench, put up 3 touchdowns on top of 100 yards and over 28 fantasy points. I got the win no matter what. Don't worry about me, guys. Nick Chubb rounding out our list there at number 5 with over 27 points, over 120 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, and then 58 yards receiving. So decent week for our fantasy running backs here. Some familiar names.
Yeah.
I know some guys are happy to see Nick Chubb back there on the list, and some new names with Rex Burkhead and Justin Jackson. Some interesting guys to look at there.
Yeah, I mean Mixon's been there routinely this season, so no surprise for him. It's been so easy for him this season. He's been fantastic. All credit to him. Moving on to the top wide receivers. T. Higgins, man. Oh my God. 43.4 points, 12 receptions, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's crazy, man. 43.4 points. We're going to mention his name a little later. Devontae Adams, 10 receptions, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, just so easy for Devontae Adams. He, as of right now, you could probably put him at the top for best wide receivers. All things considered, I'm not here to start too many debates. So AJ Brown, another one, 11 receptions, 145 yards and a touchdown. Big day for AJ Brown. Isaiah McKenzie. This was the guy that we probably should have planned for. When
it should have been Beasley or Davis or McKenzie.
But we didn't think that far ahead. Anyway, he had 11 receptions for 125 yards and a touchdown. He was cutting up that New England secondary all day. They were taking advantage of a bit of a mismatch there because, Stephon Diggs will draw the double most of the time. And Isaiah McKenzie was just always open downfield, and he looked fantastic. Deebo Samuel, another great week for Deebo, man. He's been really, really, really good this season. 9 receptions, 159 yards, along with 32 rushing yards, because apparently he's just a running back now too.
Yeah. You would know how good he is. Moving on to the top tight ends, we'll run through these quick, fill you in a little bit. Obviously, no shock here, but number 1 tight end on the week was Mark Andrews. Get used to it, people. Over 26 points. Dalton Schultz coming in second with 22. For the Cowboys with over a touchdown. Obviously, that huge Cowboys win over the Washington football team. Gerald Everett had almost 17. Kyle Pitts with over 16, and Zach Ertz rounding out the list with just over 13 points for the Cardinals.
Good to see Kyle Pitts on that list. Love to see it as a Falcons fan. Moving on, defense and special teams. Cowboys put up 26. So the Dolphins again. The Dolphins defense has just been crazy this season. This is another like 15 plus point performance for them with a defense. That's crazy. The Eagles 18 points. Buccaneers D and special teams put up 15, and the Chiefs put up 11. So that rounds off our big week. And I'll continue this on here with the waiver wire. Moving on. Going to give you 3 players this week, 3 running backs, evidently enough. First one being Eagles running back Boston Scott. And, there's Miles Sanders has been a little bit disappointing this season for fantasy output. And Boston Scott's been picking it up of late too. And down the season, I wonder if there's a little bit of these last couple of games for the Eagles. I wonder if they kind of throw it out there and let both backs kind of take the reins here and see who kind of does better with their opportunity. Because Miles Sanders just hasn't looked too good this season for the Eagles, and Boston Scott's picking it up. So expect that to continue over the last 2 games of the season. So that's why you should go get him in the waiver wire. Also, he's roughly 14% rostered right now in most leagues. So he's pretty readily available on the market right now. Next guy. Oh, geez. I got to look to see how I'm going to say his name here.
Take a breath.
Dar Ogunbowale.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars backup running back. Now the starter, because James Robinson is hurt and likely will not play this week. He's set up for a pretty.
He's gone for the year. He's done.
Well, yeah.
He tore his Achilles. He's not likely to play this week.
I was kind of being a little sarcastic.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, it's fine. But Ogunbowale, he's gonna be thrown in to the fire immediately. He's gonna be the lead back. No competition there, and he's gonna get lots of work because Jacksonville's not that good. Last one, Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead had a massive week, as we mentioned before. And there's no reason why he shouldn't get the majority of the red zone work for the Texans. Again, the Texans are not very good. A common theme among these guys, as well as they play on teams who really have nothing to lose at this point. Right? Sure. Last 2 games of the season, let's try some stuff. And Rex Burkhead's probably going to get the latter portion of the red zone work as he did last week. He's also a power back. Like, he's a pretty physical running back as well. Like his days in New England, he was a guy that you just ran it up the gut with every time, with like very reliable, steady. So those are our 3 waiver wire picks.
Good picks there. Some difficult names for sure, providing their fair share of challenges this week.
I guess I'll take it again for starts and sits here.
All right.
Flying right now. Starts and sits for week 17. First start, David Montgomery. We're telling you to start David Montgomery this year. Not necessarily because of recent performances. I mean, that has a little bit to do with it, I think. But also, if you look at how he finished the season last year, he really made a case for himself to be a top fantasy running back coming into the draft this year, just based on the way how he finished last season. So again, the Bears have nothing to lose. We said that last week about Justin Fields, so we feel like this is going to apply as well for David Montgomery, especially this week as well. Next start, Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown's been hot. They've been feeding him over the past couple weeks here. And he's really produced for Detroit. He's got a nice connection going with Jared Goff as well. Again, Detroit's just going to let it rip here and see how it goes, because they're in one with getting the first overall pick. But if they keep winning games, that might not happen.
Yeah. Next, Lions are on winning season now.
Yeah, when the Lions
they're chip chasing.
When the Lions win, they lose. That's what they say. That's so bad. That is. Next one, we're telling you to start Ronald Jones. Again, with Leonard Fournette out, Ronald Jones is going to see the latter portion of work there. And as well, they're probably going to hand the ball off a fair amount of times in these next couple games, because they want their receivers and their franchise quarterback now, Tom Brady, to be ready and healthy and 100% for the playoffs. So expect Ronald Jones to kind of do a little bit of the dirty work in these next couple games, and finish off the season, and especially this week. So that's why we are telling you to start him. And then again, the aforementioned Dar Ogunbowale. Start him because he is in for a big week. He's going to get the latter portion of the touches, because he is the only guy in that backfield as of right now. And will get an increased role. And lastly, we're telling you this week to start Joe Burrow. And you're thinking, well, I mean, shouldn't I always start Joe Burrow? And I'm not always, because this season, fantasy wise, he's been a little bit in and out. He's had his stints on the waiver wire. And the way he's been playing recently, been really, really good signs. Obviously, he had 38 last week. Great week for him.
Yeah.
And
depends on the point structure, yeah. But he's been a beast. I think he's definitely, like you said, wondering if you should always start him. I think just within the last couple of weeks, he's kind of cemented himself as a must start every week. So, yeah.
Also,
must start this week as well.
The Bengals are also in a bit of a race themselves for the playoffs and positioning. Like the Bengals could play a home game, couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean,
The
I'm just
playoff picture right now is nuts, but
they're leading the AFC North. They
yeah,
could, yeah, who knows?
yeah. So they're fighting for position right now. So they're a team that is not going to let up at all down the season, and I don't expect him to get too much rest down the stretch. So yeah, how about you take over the sits here, Hags? We only have a couple,
Yeah,
but
we only got because I don't want to hate on too many guys here. Like I'm trying to keep everybody positive. You know, have more starts and sits. Keep the energy in the room up. I just want to say here though, this start and sit list has it's the Team Bags remix here. You
yeah,
know, like when we go 8 for 8 here, Ty White, this one's for you.
it's the
Yeah,
remix.
it's the Team Bags remix, baby. Yeah, so we're starting off with Terry McLaurin. I heard this is Scary Terry's. This is not his first time on the sit list.
No,
Is that
it
right?
went
Yeah.
horribly wrong. I think the last time we told you. I think
Well,
I
it's gonna
I
go
might
horribly right.
I might have to fact check that. So don't quote me.
I'm not gonna say it's going. I'm not gonna jinx myself, but I'm gonna say I'm putting him on the sit list. Last 3 weeks, he's been under 9 points. Washington hasn't looked great. Taylor Heineke hasn't looked great. That performance, last week against Dallas,
Yikes.
to say it didn't look great would be a massive understatement. I'd sit Scary Terry. Second on the sit list, it's my boy Saquon Barkley. I'm repping proud right now. He's my keeper, and I took him out of my lineup today. For our boy Dare Ogunbowale. I think Saquon, if you like, it's easy to sit there and refresh your fantasy app and see him putting up 30 yards a game and be like, oh, like maybe his opportunity is coming. But then you turn on a Giants game and it's like, if you watch a Giants game, guys, that's your reason to sit him. Just watch a little bit, especially with Daniel Jones out, Mike Glennon now, Jake Fromm is their starting quarterback. I think when
Bill's
I
legend.
personally believe when your third string quarterback is like the guy, it's not exactly helping your star running back. So I'd let Saquon take a seat to this week, especially if it's for a little more volume intensive running back. And thirdly, I'm gonna go a little bit with a little bit of a warmer take here. I'm gonna tell you to sit Ryan Tannehill.
That's a warm take.
It's a bit of a revenge week here with Ryan Tannehill going up against the Miami Dolphins, but I don't think it's gonna go his way. I don't think the Titans are gonna be too pass heavy. And I look at the Miami Dolphins defense, as you were saying, Loch. They've been firing off all cylinders. Granted, they've played like the last 7 weeks have all been bottom 10 teams in the league, but
they've been still getting the job done.
I think they've been building up for this moment where they play Ryan Tannehill and make him a sit this week. And I think that's what's going to occur. So those are the starts and sits of the week.
Yeah, hopefully
and
we can do a little better this week, and that'd be nice.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt in my mind. I think ultimately, yeah, some of those starts Locke mentioned though, especially when it comes to running backs this time of year, like you're juggling so many injuries and
yes,
you're playing third string running backs that just because the first two guys are out for the year.
Man, it's so like Ty and I have said this in the past before too. Like there are times where you pick up a guy off the waiver wire and you're like, who the heck is this guy? Like what
exactly?
Who am I starting right now? Why is this? Why did I pick this guy up and why is he in my starting lineup? Like I've never heard of him. But that's just fantasy football at its finest right there.
Yeah, if he touches the ball 20 times in the game, that's all that matters. That's all we care about. We'll
So
hopefully help you.
starts and sits over and done with. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, a little hot takes on the some of the sits list, but very justifiable for Ryan Tannehill. So well done. Our
Yeah, I
fantasy
guess.
player, our fantasy player of the week. I think this one's kind of obvious. T. Higgins. Again, what do you have? What, like 12 receptions for almost 200 yards and a couple touchdowns? Come on. We got to give the fantasy player of the week to T. Higgins. He absolutely went off. Him and Joe Burrow have been looking really good, and the Bengals are slowly building up to the playoffs. So T. Higgins, congratulations. You are our fantasy player of the week.
Congrats to you.
Yeah, it's time for our question of the week now.
I've got an answer of the week. Yep.
Yeah. So we're getting to the last 2 weeks of the fantasy football season, which is heartbreaking. But also we're getting into an interesting time now where obviously the NFL added an extra game onto the schedule this year, which some players weren't that happy about. But regardless, life goes on. And the question of the week this week is, how can I prepare for teams sitting their normal starters? For example, how can I prepare when the Packers sit Aaron Jones or Devontae Adams or any of their weapons like that? How can I prepare, Christian?
Yeah, well, I think that's a deep philosophical question, Lachlan, and I think it comes down to a bit of a player by player basis. I think, especially with the new league length, or the new season length with 18 weeks, players aren't used to playing 17 games in a year. And if you look at a guy like Tom Brady, like, I don't think he plays week 18. Maybe, like, I guess he'll play week 17, but I'm sure they're gonna look to mix in some rest there for a guy like him, or Aaron Rodgers. Um, and you mentioned like Devontae Adams or Aaron Jones, because the Packers have been notorious for doing that over the years, for resting their guy, because
Well,
they're usually like
and last year I
they've
remember,
usually
like,
clinched
yeah.
like way ahead. But
Well, and I remember last year too, there was a case of the Chiefs. Because I had Mahomes and Kelsey on my team last year and do again this year. And the Chiefs again clinched early last year, and they both didn't play in the last game. And I'm like, man, that's like half my team gone. So one thing that you, I think, need to look at, as always, we've mentioned this before, with our playoff advice. Really, one, look at the depth charts of teams, and say, okay, I know that this player is going to be out. Who is the wide receiver 2? Who might be the wide receiver 3? And look at players that are going to be other backups as well. Because
for sure.
yeah, they might not put up the numbers that their starting counterparts might, but at the same time, like, at least you're getting some volume in your lineup, because at the end of the day, in PPR leagues, that's the most important thing, is the volume that players are getting the ball at, right? So
Yeah,
it's a big matchup thing, and it's tough this time of year, because it can really make or break your fantasy season, considering the finals are either now or in the final week.
yeah. I think, just like you said, I think you want to get their handcuffed. Like, for example, especially when it comes to running backs. For example, I've got Aaron Jones. And earlier in the year, I was fortunate. I saw AJ Dillon on waivers, and I just had to snatch him up, because, like, like, that's an example of your star players, especially your star running backs. You want to be able to have their backups in the case that they're hurt or they're resting, and you can just toss a guy in there and assume that they're going to get, maybe 3/4 of the volume, and be able to put up something similar on a point scale, and hopefully, help your team out a little bit. But it's obviously a tough time for it to happen, especially if you're in the fantasy playoffs, and, like, you've got, like Dalvin Cook, who's going to get rested, and you're relying on him to push you over the edge. But
Yeah.
I think, I think it definitely comes down to, like, you got to do your research and realize what situation your players are in. Like if your guys are on a team that are like fighting for a playoff spot, and like their team still needs them, then they're worth the start. Like they're going to be playing to win. But if they're clinched, or if they're out of it, then more so if they're clinched, I'd be a little more cautious there. Like Indianapolis, for example, with Jonathan Taylor, I think he's still a safe start. They're
Oh
still
yeah,
competing for
100%.
something,
Yeah, because they
and
they need him
he might
now
be in the most
to.
perfect situation. He
Yeah.
might be the most perfect
Same with
running back to
same with
start.
Stephon
So
Diggs, and same with Josh Allen. Um, and
for sure,
again, Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon are in that situation as well, where they're just in the right frame where they're good teams. Like they're gonna be playing playoff football. I'd say. Like I think the Colts are gonna
yeah.
inevitably make the playoffs. But they still have to start everyone because they can't just throw the season away.
Yeah, realistically, there's only a few teams that are in the situation where they're resting players. The Bucks and the Chiefs and the Packers, maybe. And realistically, like that might be it. Maybe another AFC team, but um, also you have to consider, like, maybe you start a guy week 18, and you start a running back, and their team still kind of got something to play for, and guy plays the first half and then sits the second half, and then what do you do? Like
Yeah.
you're kind of like that kind of screws you over either way, because you can't really start the backup and only get a half of work. And so it really makes for a bit of a messy situation. But like I said, you just got to do your research and
Yeah.
kind of
Depth.
have yourself covered with depth.
Yeah. Depth charts are
And
important, as we've said it before, with our playoff advice. Depth is very key this time of year. And it's even more key when you're playing for the finals as well, or
for
not to
sure,
come last, which thankfully you are not playing for, and neither am I.
I don't know why I would be like, well,
Yeah.
who said anything about that?
No, no. Well, that just about wraps up our episode. That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
My third time being on here. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm at home now. Like
Yeah.
I literally am. But
Well, yeah. Don't get
yeah,
too comfortable. You're only in a PTO. No,
yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding around.
I'm on a 10-day hardship. Ties on the COVID list.
No,
Yeah.
no. Ty is perfectly healthy for everyone
Uh,
wondering. He's doing just
oh
great.
yeah, he doesn't actually have COVID.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry.
He's probably sitting on a beach somewhere with his feet up, drinking sparkly water out of an umbrella straw. That's
Is
a weird explanation. But Ty, we hope you're doing well. Lachlan, thank you for having me on once again. It's always
no
a pleasure.
worries. Yeah, so that'll wrap up episode 16, I think this is now. The Fantasy Cast, I think.
Might be 17.
16 or 17. I have a feeling, I don't know. We're getting up there. We're getting up there.
It's 17.
Oh,
17.
it is 17. I said 16 off the top. Oh, that's horrible.
Knew it.
Oh, that's terrible. Well, nothing I can do about it now.
It's all right.
Episode 17. Thanks so much for all the support as always. And if you need any fantasy football advice, don't hesitate to reach out, because Christian is also a very good source of advice for fantasy football content. Yeah, no, Christian comes from a big fantasy football family, comes by it honestly. So yeah, you can hit either one of us up if you need any last minute fantasy football advice, because we're going to be invested in it. Keep having a great holiday break, guys. Christmas has passed. We hope you had a wonderful Christmas with your families. or a wonderful holiday season with your families, I should say. And we hope that keeps going. And until next time, he's Christian Haggith. I'm Lachlan McTagg. For everyone here at the Fantasy Cast, this concludes episode number 17, guys. We'll see you soon.